computer. Wonderful. In myself, just stare at myself. Okay. And wonderful. Well, welcome everybody. This is Poga, yoga for paddlers. So hopefully you're in the right Zoom meeting. And even if not, just stay and do Poga. So our regular schedule, we're going to sit for about 3 to 4 minutes of silent meditation, and then we will do seated stretching. These stretches can be done sitting on a block, bolster, cushion, or even in a chair. So making yourself comfortable. And then we will move dynamically getting on the mat. But for the next 10 minutes or so, we will be seated. So creating a space for yourself that you are able to be relaxed yet alert. So that's always the balance with meditation. We want to be relaxed, but not so relaxed we fall asleep. We want to be alert, but not in a position that is uncomfortable for us. So once you come into your seated position, we can do a few options for our meditation. But today I'd like to narrow it down actually. Instead of doing your visualization meditation, I'd like to have us do our concentration meditation. And the reason why I feel that this is something important that I want to start to not insist upon, but encourage you to practice is because our ability to focus and concentrate our mind directly relates into our athleticism and our ability to function in a competitive environment. So for those of you that have been at festivals and competitions, dragon boating competitions before, it can be very distracting. So you can imagine, all of us can imagine being at that start line and you can hear the other boats. You're in a place where the environment is unfamiliar. There's sounds, there's the visuals, right? It's very distracting. And you'll hear your coach say, eyes in our boat, right? Ignore everything outside of this boat. Everything outside the boat just falls away, and we focus on our breath and we focus on our own team and our own performance. So this ability to concentrate and focus that we practice within our yoga is directly transferable as a skill to our ability to stay focused, centered, calm, right? When we are in the heat of competition, which gives us an edge. That is an edge. So competitive edge doesn't just come from physicality, right? Strength, mobility, and skill around the physical aspect of our sport. It also comes from the mental endurance and our ability to concentrate. So that is why I'm going to be suggesting from here on out till the season begins that our meditation be around our concentration, which means that we focus in on the breath. We use the breath as an anchor because it is always with us. We don't have to pay for it or buy it, right? It's just there, okay? So we've got 3 full minutes here. Whenever the mind wanders, notice and just bring your attention back to breath. Do it again and again and again, as many times as needed over the next 3 minutes. Close your eyes, maybe taking a few deep breaths to notice the breath for the first time today. And then settling the focus on your inhales, following the inhale all the way in and following the exhale all the way out. All right, eyes can open. And let's begin our seated stretches. Interlacing the fingers together, flip them inside out, bringing the arms up over the head. We're going to reach up here, shoulders lift towards the ears, bringing length into the sides of the body. Good, like you're trying to press the top of the hands right into the ceiling. So getting as tall as possible. Taking a few deep breaths in and out through the nose. Giving the body the signal that movement is coming. Good. Releasing the hands slowly down by your sides and then interlacing the fingers behind you, back bending, gaze up, open through the chest, extending through the spine. And if you can't interlace your fingers, that's okay. Just grab onto an opposite wrist and just think about the elbows coming towards each other, shoulder blades squeezing in, opening through the collarbones and the throat. Nice, and breathe. Bringing oxygen to the muscles, invigorating the body, getting the energy flowing, sweeping away any sticky spots, any congestion or stagnation. Nice, release the hands, bringing the arms in front. We're going to crisscross applesauce so that the thumbs are down, pinkies are up, interlacing the fingers once again. Inhale here, and as you exhale, round through the spine, chin to chest, gazing down, tucking the pelvis as you reach forward with the fists, opening the back body, closing the front body. Beginning to recognize this relationship between the muscles where for one muscle to stretch, another must contract. For one part of the body to open, another must close. Release the grip. Arms coming down by your sides. It's an inhale to lift the right arm high. And an exhale to bring it over to one side. Keep the right hip anchored down so that we're not starting to tip through the pelvis. We're going to keep the pelvis level as we open through the right side body. Good option to look up past the right elbow here. Length through the neck. Good. Breathing into those little muscles between the ribs. These are such important small muscles for getting an optimum breathing, right? Our optimum breath allows for optimum oxygenation of the muscles so that we can perform better, right? More intensity. One final inhalation. Exhale to bring you through center and switch to second side. Anchoring down through the left hip, gazing up past the elbow and breathing. Think about the inhalations being this invitation for more space, more expansion. And then the exhales allow you to move more deeply into the posture. One more inhale, and the exhale will bring your arm back down to neutral. Let's bring that left hand across the body onto the hand comes to make contact into the outside of the thigh, coming into a gentle twist. On your inhalations, think length from tail to top of the head, getting as tall as you can, and then exhale a little more deeply into the twist, imagining yourself as a towel being wrung out. One final inhale here, and when your exhale comes, moving through center and into your second side twist. There's in a sense of inviting the body into these shapes, right? Not forcing or putting a lot of pressure on the body, right? But inviting Yoga is something we do with the body, for the body, right? Not to the body. Very different intention and energy here. Final inhale. And the exhale moves us through center. Wonderful. Let's come into our tabletop position on the mat. Hands will be directly underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, and tops of the feet are down. We're going to begin with bird dogs with just one leg and arm at a time. On your inhale, extend opposite arm and leg, look out. And then as you exhale, bring the knee and the elbow towards each other, maybe even touching. Inhale to get long and exhale to get small. Now, as you inhale and you get long, think about a straight line through the top line of the body, not a U shape, right? So don't lift the leg up. Think about just stretching the leg back. Nice. And now with the upper body, with that arm, you can think about lifting the thumb as high as it will go, right? And the reason that we do this is that we're trying to find mobility through the shoulder joint and not compensating through hyperextending the low back, right? Nice. One more full round of breath on this side, taking your time, following the rhythm of the breath. Nice. Last exhale, and then returning to neutral. Wonderful. As you're ready, change sides. Think long through the leg, not high. Good. And then with the arm, think high, right? So the thumb reaches up. Good. Challenging our range of motion. Oftentimes, with the range of pressing over the head, which you might do in OST with Brett, there's a compensation that happens in the low back, right? So we are practicing keeping a neutral spine while finding this overhead mobility in the shoulder. One more full round of breath, full inhale, full exhale. And returning to center. Good. Now let's get into our twist. On an inhalation, the left arm reaches high. Reach up and look up. Exhale, thread the needle through, reaching under and looking where the fingertips are reaching. Good. Inhale to get high and exhale to twist. Now notice here if there's a lot of movement in the hips and pelvis, and try to keep the rest of the body totally still. Okay. And again, this is just working on that thoracic spine isolation. Yeah, nice. Not compensating through other parts of the body that might be more mobile. One more full inhale and full exhale. And once you finish that exhalation, returning to your table. Wonderful. Changing sides as you're ready. Reach and through. You might notice that the right hip wants to lift to help you get more range. And you are going to say, thanks, but no thanks. Yes, nice. Yeah, well, sometimes in the physical fitness world, we call this compensation or false range, right? And what false range is that the body is very, very clever. Yeah, one more full breath in, full breath out. And coming back into your tabletop. Nice. We're going to bring the knees wide and the toes together and sit the hips back to the heels. Reach the arms out as far as they'll go, reaching the fingertips towards the top of the mat, and finally resting the forehead down to the mat. If your forehead doesn't rest comfortably, then use a block or something to get the floor up to you. And then breathe into the back of the body. See if you can feel the inhalations between the shoulder blades, perhaps, in the side of the body, in the low back. Think about the breath as a 360-degree movement. Front, back, side, side, down, and up. Nice. On your inhale, rising back up to a tabletop position. And now we're going to do a little more challenging of a stretch. The knees stay wide, and I'm going to bring my ankles out to be in line with the knees, right? So instead of I can't even really see my feet now because they are behind my knees. Now sit the hips back once again. And you can keep your gaze forward. So we're not forward folding with the head down. We're staying a little bit active. Good. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, sit back. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, sit back. And you just continue this rocking motion using your breath. You might find this stretch particularly challenging, bringing a lot of sensation into the body. Right? So never edging towards pain, right? Always stopping in discomfort. Yeah. So just making sure we're differentiating between those two things. Good. Last rock back and then forward. Beautiful work. Let's bring the knees back under the hips, coming into our more traditional tabletop position. And we're going to bring the right foot to the outside of the right hand. Good. And then from there, rise up, coming into our 90-90 position. So approximately 90 degrees in the knees and the hips. Arms come up and over the head. Nice. I'm going to actually face you so you can see what my hands are up to. Good. Yeah, beautiful. Inhale, you're going to think about touching the elbows behind you. So it's a big stretch. Exhale, elbows come in towards each other, maybe even touching. Inhale to open the elbows. Exhale to come in. And once again, I just want you to notice what's happening in the rest of the body. When you bring your elbows back, try not to flare the ribs forward. You can help with this by squeezing your butt on that back leg and keeping the ribs tucked down, right? So really focusing this movement just in the upper body, making sure the rest of the body isn't compensating. Beautiful. Good. One last time. Good. Yes. Let's take the left hand around, hook it onto the outside of the thigh, coming into a twist. With that hand that's back, you can use it and wrap it around if you'd like. This won't work for everyone. And if it doesn't work for you, it's not a big deal. You can just place your hand on your low back, and that's also fine. Yeah, just a few little options here. None is better than the rest. Just do what works for you. Inhaling, get tall. Exhaling, get into that twist a little deeper. Nice. Final inhalation. And the exhale will bring you back to your tabletop. Let's bring the left leg forward and rise up. Yeah. Little different variation here for the arms. Arms will come back into that 90-90 position. Yep. Squeeze in the bum. And this time we're going to do internal, external rotation. So first we're going to drop the right arm down. As you do this, notice if your elbow drops, right? You want to keep your elbow high. Don't force it. You're not cranking. Do not crank on that shoulder, right? This is just gravity here. Nice. And then switch. Good. And then switch again. And just going in a slow, smooth pace. Back and forth. Back and forth, finding that full range, not forcing it, not putting a lot of pressure on yourself, but just lubricating that joint. Nice. Yeah, beautiful, everybody. Yeah, continue just a few more. Yep, wrapping it up, one more on each. And once you're finished on that last side, we're going to bring the right hand around, wrap the hand, or just place it on the low back, coming into a twist. Think about shoulders heavy, neck long, spine tall. One final inhale. And as you exhale, returning to your tabletop position. Well done, everybody. Now we're going to come into our first downward facing dog here. Let's lengthen out the hands about a palm length out. Tuck the toes and lift the hips up and back, keeping a bend in the knee. As we focus on creating a straight line from wrist, elbow, shoulder to hip. And we do this by focusing on the extension of the spine, right? So not flexing, not rounding the spine forward, but instead a little back bending through the spine to find that length. Yeah, and definitely keep the bend in the knees, a little heels off of the floor. Lovely. Yeah, good. On your next inhalation, walk your feet all the way to your hands and exhale as you arrive in your forward fold. Deep bend in the knees, clasping onto opposite elbows as you rock side to side, ragdoll. Let your head go completely. When you think your neck and head are relaxed, relax them even more. Your exhales can facilitate a deep stretch, lengthening through the spine from tail all the way to the top of the head. Good. Release the elbows on your inhalation. Halfway lift. Hands drag up the front of the shin bones. And we are in what I always call is a great position for a deadlift if we were to do one. So what we're focusing on here is shoulders back and down, right? This extending through the spine. So we're not like this. We're not like this, right? Bend the knees, untuck the tail slightly, and flatten the back. Push your feet into the floor. Find tension in the legs, tension in the core. Hold and breathe. Squeezing your bum, finding tension there to support the back. Wonderful. Arms come up by the sides like an airplane. And then we're going to stand by pushing through the feet and squeezing the tush, unhinging the hips until we're all the way up. Arms over the head. And then the arms can come down by your side into mountain pose, right? So this is our called Tadasana, mountain pose. It's really just standing intentionally, right? Feet under the hips, soft in the knees. We find alignment through the body, right? Optimal alignment for optimal stability. Wonderful. Inhale, arms come up over the head. And as you exhale, sit back into chair pose. We're going to warm up the legs a little bit here. Nice. Yeah, so we can be more here or here, right? Everybody's chair looks a little bit different. What I do want you to try to find is equal weight through the feet. Feel the feet. Be aware of the pressure and the weight there. Nice. And then this can be really challenging to keep the arms over the head. So if you're kind of letting the arms hang down, think about the thumbs pointing towards the back of the room, right? So really reaching back, challenging the muscles of the back here. Wonderful. Almost there. A little bit more. Building that endurance, physical and mental. Good. On your next inhalation, straighten the legs. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees so you can keep a flat back. Wonderful, everyone. So we're in our forward fold here. Let's step back into high plank, hands directly under the shoulders, and hold your plank. Squeeze your bum. Squeeze your thighs. Drive the heels back. Nipple line right between the thumbs. Push the floor away, slight rounding through the upper back here. Nice, drop to the knees. And then with as much control as possible, hug the elbows in, press through the hands as you lower down, slow and controlled. Good, all right, so here we are. Arms down by your sides. Then we're gonna work on the posterior chain here, so the muscles at the back of the body. So your forehead is down, it's a little, funny, you're kind of like just smashing your face into your mat, but that's fine. That's what you're supposed to do. And we're going to start first by just lifting the legs. So I want you to squeeze your butt and then slowly lift your legs off the floor. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Squeeze your inner feet, the inner edges of your feet together. As you lift your legs, squeeze your butt. Good. Keep pointing the toes, reaching back. Head is down, chest is down. Just the legs are lifted. Keep squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. Lovely. And then lower down. Right cheek to the mat and rock your hips side to side a little. Nice job. Forehead towards center once again. This time, feet stay down, and we're going to lift just the front half, just the top half of the body. Arms and chest. Ready? And lift off. Arms reach back towards the heels. Chest is lifted. I want you squeezing your tush. Shoulder blades in and down the spine. Squeezing, squeezing, noticing that engagement in the back of the body. Don't forget to breathe as you're here. One final inhalation. And as you exhale, lower the left ear to the mat and rock the hips side to side. Okay, forehead comes center, and big surprise, we're gonna put it all together into one big back bend. So as you're ready, lift the chest, lift the arms, and lift the legs. So we are in this kind of banana shape, right? If the banana was balancing, keep squeezing your whole posterior chain. I want those buns squeezed towards each other, reaching back with the arms, really open through the chest, shoulders back and down, point the toes. Just a few more breaths. Hold steady, everybody. Good. When your next exhale comes, lower down, right ear to the mat. Relax and rock the hips side to side. Good. Bringing the hands underneath the shoulders. We're going to press up onto knees, right? You just worm your way up here and then into a brief child's pose. Just a nice stretch for the low back in case any tension has gathered there. Breathing into the back of the body. Nice. Rising into your tabletop and then back into downward facing dog. Lift the hips up and back. Extend the spine. Reach the hips back. Finding length in the hamstrings, length in the back. Yes. Good. Walk your feet to your hands. Forward fold once you get there. Deep bend in the knees as you drape the upper body over the thighs. Nice. Release the hands. Halfway lift on an inhale. Half lift and hold here. Once again, we find this length and straightness, right? Or neutrality of the spine, right? The spine isn't really straight. It's not a straight line, right? There's curvature, natural curvature in the spine. So just be aware of that. Shoulders down. Good. Squeeze the legs, push your feet into the floor. Find tension in the foundation of the body. Arms lift up by your sides like a plane. And then by squeezing your butt and pushing into your feet, you're going to rise to stand. Arms come up over the head. Lovely. And then arms by your side into Tadasana. So nice, everyone. All right. So paddle simulation has arrived. We've worked on a lot of the pieces of the paddle, the stroke technique. And what we're going to practice today is kind of putting things together. We focused on the lateral bend last week. And this week we're going to practice putting together all three. So I'll do a demo. Yeah, because it's, there's a few steps. So I'm imagining that the water is on my right side here, and I'm in my set position, right? So set position means that my shoulders and my hips are square. I can hold this position for a long time, and I'm just slightly leaning forward, right? Very slight. You'll see this in the boat quite a bit. So my first action is going to be the length of my spine. Might not seem like an action, right? But what I'm trying to do is I'm not hanging out passively. I'm thinking, okay, I want to get really, really tall, and my shoulders are down, right? They're level. So I'm practicing reaching out in front of me without doing this or doing this, right? That's action number one. And then I'm going to get to the water by twisting, right? So we have extension, 1, 2, we twist. My twist looks like this, right? That's the twist. To get into the water, I'm going to laterally bend, right? Lateral bend, twist, and then back to neutral, right? So those are the 3. I hope that makes sense. We have extension and length, twist, lateral drop. Get rid of the lateral drop, get rid of the twist, and then you can even relax at the top if you want, okay? So let's just do it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just kind of do your own thing here. Work on what you think you need. I'm going to start with my arms down by my side. I'm going to come up, practicing extension without elevation or shrugging. I'm going to twist. My eyes are out. And then I'm going to practice that lateral bend. I'm going to unbend, untwist, and stand with my arms by my side back to Danasana. Just keep going. Keep breathing, right? So sometimes when we concentrate, we can start to lose our breath. Just noticing how each action feels in the body. Extend and lengthen, twist, drop. Good. One more full round on the side. And relax the arms down when you're done on the right. Yeah. So a good indication of things coming along is if that was challenging for you, right? So it should be, it doesn't look like much, but it should be challenging because we're bracing the core, we're keeping the shoulders down. Okay, here we go. Let's pretend the water's on the left side, okay? We've got our set. So right arm is high, left arm is low, and let's begin. Got our twist. Oh, a little stiff on this side. And back to center. And just as a reminder that your hips and knees can move here, right? So as you twist, right, you're gonna feel that shift in the hips, right? So as you twist, your left hip will move forward, your right hip will move back. Yeah, so I know, and sometimes in our practice, I tell you, don't move your hips, don't move your pelvis. But in the stroke, we do have the ability. So as you lift the arms, making sure we're not elevating the shoulders. Where's your gaze, right? Notice, are you with your head hanging down? Notice what's going on in the spine. Last repetition on this side. And in. Nice job, everybody. I'm not really sure what happened out there, but I trust that you got something out of it. Another interesting part of it too is like when you hear your coaches say like heavy on the gunnel side hip. So if that is on my right side, you'll notice that as I laterally bend, like this hip is lifting a bit, right? And again, what that allows for is it allows me range without going like this, right? So I can keep, right? I'm in this flexion, my shoulder is down, and then I can also lift that inside hip a little bit. So you can notice that it's hard when we don't have the bench under us, but I know you've all heard that cue, heavy on the gunnel side hip, right? That basically infers that the inside hip is a little light, correct? Because that allows for this to happen. So we can get that blade into the water. Really nice job, everybody. All right. Everyone, oh, some people even have their paddles, which I love. All right, we're gonna go into a little bit more yoga, some pure yoga postures, but are very, very good for our paddling position. So let's bring ourselves into a wide stance. So this is a feet at least 3 feet apart, and bring your toes so that they're point it out towards the outer edges of your mat a little bit. Yep. So we can come into sort of a plie squat. Hands on the hips, right below the hips, on the thighs actually, and bend your knees down. Woo! So the wide squat, what this does, it allows us to stay posturally upright. Unlike when the knees are in and then we would have to kind of lean forward. So I want you to make adjustments, right? Maybe you're too wide, maybe you're too narrow, make those adjustments. Good, inhale here. And as you exhale, bring your right shoulder towards your right knee, drop, inhale back to center, and exhale, second side, drop, inhale, center, and just follow the rhythm of your own breath. Nice. One more on each side. Good. Take your hands, reach towards the floor, lift the hips until you're in a forward fold. Let's lift the heels, get the heels out so that the outer edges of the feet are parallel with the outer edges of the mat. Completely release the upper body. And then softness in the knees, right? Maybe even a bend in the knees here, right? You do not need to have straight legs. In fact, it's safer for your spine if you don't. Hyperextension is not the only thing that puts pressure on the discs of your lumbar spine. Hyperflexion also does, which is the risk of forward folding with locked knees, right? So I never really, can't think of a time I recommend locking out your knees, no matter who you may be. Good. Nice, let's halfway lift. We're gonna bring the right hand to the center. Tented fingertips. It just means that my palm isn't down. I'm tenting my fingertips. And we're going to come into a twist. We can start with the left hand on the hip, and then you're going to open the chest up towards the sky. Yes, now if this feels okay, you can reach your arm up as well. The left arm reaches up. Nice. On your inhales, think length in the spine. On the exhales, think deepening the twist. Make sure there's a bend in the knee. Both knees. Good. Breathing. Final inhalation. And the exhale will slowly lower that hand down, replacing the other hand and reaching up, starting with hand on the hip. Twist. If that feels okay, you can try reaching up into the air. Active through the fingertips, right? Yes. Sending energy. Beautiful, everybody. Breathe. Think length on the inhale, depth on the exhale. The last inhalation up here, and exhale to lower down. Really nice. We're going to walk the hands all the way over to the right foot and begin to lift the heels on both feet and pivot until we're in a long lunge position. Yes. Yeah, so I'm framing my front foot. Once you feel steady, right, adjust your feet as much as you need to, rise up into a high lunge position. Yeah, so the back heel is up, front knee over front ankle. Good, squeeze your butt on the back leg. And then slightly back bend, right? So we're not finding this back bend through the low back. We're finding it through the mid back. Nice, everybody. Breathe through, meeting the challenge with openness, right? Perseverance. One more inhalation. And as you exhale, fold over the front foot. And let's walk through center all the way to second side, pivoting the feet as you go. Now the other leg is in front. Back heel is up. As you're ready, rise to stand. Squeezing through the back leg. Glute is engaged. Energy through the arms as you reach towards the sky. Good. Practicing that lifting of the arms over the head without shrugging the shoulders, right? Practicing that skill. Just a few more breaths, building heat in the body. Final inhalation. And as you exhale, lowering the hands down, walking once again through center until you can forward fold right in the middle of those wide legs. Relax. Good. Heel toe your feet together until they're about hip distance, and then bend the knees deeply and roll up to stand. Your head hangs heavy, arms hang heavy as you unfurl all the way to the top, shoulders finally rolling back, head lifts, Tadasana. Let's step to the top of the mat. Good. Whew. Once you're at the top of your mat, the inhale brings the arms over the head, look up, exhale, full forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale to plank. Good. Hold that plank. Lovely. We're going to bring the right knee to the back of the right wrist and drop the upper leg on the floor. And then the left knee can drop, top of the foot comes down, and we end up in a pigeon pose. So for your pigeon, you can stay up high, right? You can practice your pigeon, king pigeon, we call this. Or if you feel comfortable lowering down, maybe to a pillow, if you have like anything else that lifts the floor up to you, you can certainly use it. Otherwise, onto elbows and resting the head however you can. If the weight is significantly rocked to one side, see if you can center yourself as much as possible. Most of us can draw the left hip forward and the right hip back, and that will bring us into a little better alignment, most likely. And then breathe, unclench the jaw. Working on our hip mobility has a lot of benefits, and one of them is increasing our range of motion. So if you feel like when you're squatting, you just can't really get very low, oftentimes that's mobility that's impinged by the hip. So if we can slowly work on opening the hip, softening the hip joint, that can help us get into a deeper range of motion in our squat, which then translates into greater power, greater strength. Continuing to breathe softly and evenly. Nice, pressing up through the hands. You can slide that back leg a little forward, pressing down through the feet, returning to your plank. And then let's change sides. Left knee comes in, stretch the right leg out. Good. And choosing your position for about a minute of pigeon. Noticing the entire midsection from shoulders to hips, expanding and contracting with every breath. Kind of pressing up through the hands, nice and easy. And we'll get into our final downward dog here. Last down dog of the day. Big stretch back. Good. A bend in the knees, pressing the chest towards the thighs. Good. Drop down to the knees here into table. You can crisscross at the ankles and then push back onto your bum. We're going to come down into Baddha Konasana bound angle. This can be a big stretch for the inner thighs. So please, you decide the angle in the knees, right? You can have your heels really close to you or out further from you. Just choose what works best. We can lie down here right on our back. And then the arms are going to go over your head into a capital Y position. And then relax your arms. That might mean that they slide down or bend or the elbow, whatever. It doesn't matter. But I want this position for you to be free of effort, right? That's the idea. So you get into the position and then you totally let go of any physical effort and just breathe. You can close your eyes. And use your hands to help the knees in towards one another. Very nice. And then hug the knees in towards your body. Little rock side to side. Good. Lengthen out the right leg. And then draw the left knee across the body, coming into a twist. And then before you settle in, lift that bottom hip and scoot it back towards the center of the mat. Arms come out in a capital T position. You can scoot that right shoulder blade to the right a little bit. That'll help encourage the left shoulder blade down. And we are twisted, right? We're twisted up. And just making any adjustments needed here, right? Any support that you feel like you need. And then once again, releasing effort. And that sounds easy, but it can be very challenging, especially if this is an intense stretch for you. And that's why I always say, don't force it, right? It's always just an invitation to the body, not an insistence. When the body feels in danger, it will just resist and tighten up even more, right? So it doesn't work that way, right? We got to catch those flies with honey. Notice the breath. Filling low belly, back and front body. Slowly moving through center. Getting back into the middle of the mat. Lift the hips, bring everything back to middle. Then hug the knees in once you're centered. Lengthen out the left knee. And repeat the process on this side. And if you stay present with the sensations of the body, you might even notice this evolution that happens over the course of the 60 or so seconds that we're here, right? We are initially confronted with a certain kind of sensation, and then that sensation will shift, right? Not necessarily lessening, but it moves, it changes, it evolves as we're here and as we breathe. Gingerly moving back through center. Hips come to the center of the mat once again. Final hug in of the knees. This time, bring the knees wide outside of the rib cage and a little rock side to side. Nice. And then we'll come to sit. Rocking the way up to a seated position. Let me just check the time. Oh, yeah, we can do one quiet moment to close class. So wherever my block went, you can sit on something. You can stand up, grab a chair for this if you don't want to sit. Sitting on the floor is not necessarily comfortable. So please accommodate yourself. When you arrive in your seated position, lengthen up through the spine, ground down through your bum. Close your eyes. Just be with the breath for about a minute. Good. Placing palms together, pressing your thumbs into the chest, open the eyes. I always end class with Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. It means peace, peace, peace. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining the practice today. So wonderful to have so many people here. Actually, we got a little crew going.